So, if you saw Thunderbolts this weekend and you've seen the post-credit scene, stick around for this video. If you haven't,
Spoilers.
yeah. So, if you haven't seen it, get gone because we're about to spoil the hell out of it right now. But Kyle, do you remember in Thunderbolts? Wasn't that long ago we seen it in the post-credit scene, and at the end of the film, the Thunderbolts become the new Avengers, the government-appointed Avengers. That's what Val does. She sets it up, and we're like, wow, they're the new Avengers. And then we find out in the post-credit scene that Sam Wilson has a team of Avengers and he's filed for the copyright of the Avengers team. Now, why he did that, we can get into all sorts of, it being the government appointed Avengers kind of stands against what Steve Rogers was for. So you can kind of tell why he's a bit angry at that. But we know who's on the new Avengers. Now, do we know who's on Sam Wilson's Avengers? I think we can have, a little discussion here, a little guess. I think I've got a pretty good idea. Let's do it. Let's not go too crazy. Let's do it like the new Avengers is. There's 6 members of the new Avengers: Sentry, US Agent, Bucky, Yelena, Ghost, Red Guardian. Let's say 6 members of Sam's Avengers as well, and then so we're not going like, oh, maybe him from that one film that we hadn't seen him in since then. But yeah, I'll get us started if you want. I think it's quite easy to actually picture about who's going to be in Sam's Avengers, and I think we've got to go with number one, an absolute given. Who's going to be in Sam's Avengers team? Joaquin Torres, obviously. That's without a doubt. That was set up right at the end of Brave New World. He said, if you're going to be the new Falcon and stuff like that, and we need to go and assemble a team, cool. Joaquin Torres. I would also say the next one, which makes the most sense, being in Sam's Avengers, is Shuri. Because Sam's got a connection with the Wakandans. They build his suits for being Captain America. So I don't see why he wouldn't have that connection with Shuri to get her in to be a member of his Avengers. Also, who we know Sam Wilson has got a big connection with, Scott Lang. He's the one who brought him to Steve Rogers in Civil War. We know they've got a bit of a back and forth, causing tic tac and stuff like that. I absolutely think Scott Lang will be a member of Sam Wilson's Avengers. And also, my next one I'd like to say is Simu Liu's Shang-Chi. I think, when he was introduced as our new Avenger, meet our newest Avenger in all of the marketing campaign for Shang-Chi. We know he's in Doomsday. Definitely, I think he's going to be on Sam Wilson's Avengers team. And finally, for my 6th member, I think Thor. I think Thor's going to be on Sam's Avengers team. I think he's going to have come back to Earth. I feel like it just makes the most sense. You need your big tank on the team, and I feel like Thor will fit that role. And look, everyone I've just mentioned as well, we know they're going to be in Doomsday. So to me, that just kind of made the most sense. Is there anyone you would change? Anyone you'd bring in? Anyone we hadn't heard of? Who? Because we know they ain't announced the full cast yet, Kyle. Who you think might be in Sam's Avengers team?
Well, a show that I'm very excited for, and I think I don't know I don't know which team I'd like to see him on, but Wonder Man. I'm quite looking forward to that. Obviously, we're still only got one trailer out there, but so far it's won me over. I'm like, yes, I am on board with this. I would like to see Wonder Man pop up because I'm already really intrigued by his character, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think if he was in, say, like Sam's team, I think that's where the funnier, looser side will come. But then if he goes into the Thunderbolts or Yelena's Avengers, or the new Avengers, we should call them, then he just gel with that group so well, just because from what we see of the trailers, it's one of those less serious characters, but could potentially have a very serious undertone as well, like the Thunderbolts. I think there's a greater possibility with Wonder Man. There's variants, of course. We don't know what it's, we know the teams and how it's going to function, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get a variant in there somewhere. I mean, it's multiversal, it's about multiversal
Yeah,
stuff. The potential is limitless on it. We just don't know. So it's kind of hard to say. And you know me, Callum, I'm not really one for speculating, especially with you, because you get things right, you bastard. So but for the teams though, I'm pretty happy with how they've set it up. That's all I'll really say on this is
yeah,
they've set it up in such a great way of like it feeling familiar in the sense of how they set up Infinity War and Endgame. They're sort of going for a similar thing here, where it's you got these two Avengers teams, two teams. Um, they're not working together. They're not actively working together, and Doom is going to basically force their hand. They're going to have to. They're going to
yeah.
have to work together if they're going to make it through.
It
Which,
comes when they're divided.
yeah, but that's the thing
Yeah,
as well. Like that they probably will lose. It makes sense. I don't want that to be a predictable thing. I do want something surprising to happen.
I
But
think they'll. I think they will think they've won.
mm,
I think that's what'll happen. But
potentially, yeah, maybe
yeah,
they defeat this Doom or whatever, and he was the big bad, and then maybe the multiverse just cracks open, and then it's
another Doom.
oh, stop talking. We're gonna ruin the fucking film before it's out.
More Doom. Give me
More
more Doom.
Doom. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, there's characters obviously that we've left off this list. I don't see Carol Danvers being on the Avengers team simply because she is so far spread that it's she can go from planet to planet like that. I don't see her settling around and being on an Avengers team and helping one planet. Yes, she might be there. She hasn't been announced yet. She might be there. Another one I want to mention, who I would trade out with Chris Hemsworth for if they are going to be in the film, because Chris Pratt's kind of alluded that he's going to be in Doomsday. Star Lord, we know he's on Earth. I don't see why he couldn't be an Avenger if he's got all his tech and all his gadgets and stuff like that. There's no reason why he couldn't. But I feel like having Thor there a bit more necessary to be on Sam's team. I feel like if you've got Sam, Joaquin, Shuri, Scott, Shang-Chi, Thor, you've got a nice, well-balanced team there. A team which absolutely dogs the new Avengers until Sentry gets off his
Lets
ass and then he
loose. Yeah,
so
finishes milkshake and gets up.
finishes the dishes. But he
Yeah.
already did the dishes actually.
Oh.
But yeah, and then just
Do you
rolls them
know
all into
what?
one.
I know it's obviously that was directed by the Russo brothers, but I would pay I would give anything away. I would pay all the money in the world to see Red Guardian ride Sentry. That would be fucking hilarious. Just
The
in the
Red
background.
Guardian rides
Even,
the Sentry.
even if it's just like an Easter egg in the background that you wouldn't notice, like in a
Yeah.
big battle scene, as long as it's there and it's technically canon then, but it's just like an Easter egg, I would fucking love that. But
I love that the Void's still there. They
yeah,
can't get rid of it. And I want to see the Void versus Doom.
yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, guys, who do you think is going to be in Sam Wilson's Avengers team? Did we get it wrong? Did we get it right? Only we will know because we know everything. We are not the Russo brothers. We are the Russo twins. Makes us have a
Mhm.
stronger connection. So yeah, let us know down below what you think and subscribe if you want. If you don't want, give us a like. You got to do one or the other though, otherwise Kyle will run you over.
I can't even fucking drive.
Right, see you later.